Yuji will save Dabura and not just defeat Mahoraga, but he will solve all of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. Yes, it has to be Yuji, and with this chapter, it just gives me more and more confidence that Yuji is coming back, with my bet of me deleting my channel if Yuji doesn't show up still on the line. Let us talk about why Yuji will come in and save the battle, especially saving Dabura and becoming the new Kalyan god. Be sure to leave a like on the video, it helps out so much. Thank you very much, and of course, subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo content like this. If you love Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, I'm covering it non-stop, so trust me, you will not regret subscribing. But without further ado, let's just start. Dabura has been getting absolutely slammed this chapter. I've made 2 videos on it, so I won't get into it too much, but yes, this did not go the way we expected. I did think Dabura was going to not struggle this much. I thought Dabura was going to be stronger. Not that Dabura is weak, there's a difference between being weak and just being not as strong as I thought. Like, Dabura still has the cursed energy levels of an Honoured One character, he's as fast and as strong as Sukuna and Gojo, like, he's on par with them in terms of physical stats, in terms of his technique, but he just doesn't have the experience they have. He's not as good in terms of strategy, he doesn't have a domain expansion, he doesn't have reverse curse technique, and his mindset just isn't that of a Honoured One level character. That's not a bad thing per se. I actually think it's what makes his character insanely interesting and is a fantastic writing choice from Gege AKUTAMI. One of the worst things he could have done is just made Dabura either evil or just another eccentric Honoured One character like Gojo and Sukuna. He would have just ended up being a Gojo Sukuna clone. That is the one thing that would have been cool, but it would have been pretty boring. Whereas I see this route, Dabura just reminding me a lot of like Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, being someone who doesn't want to fight, being a soft-hearted character, someone who's just forced into all these situations. He was born with power, but he doesn't want to train. He doesn't want to be the strongest. I actually think that is a fantastic writing choice, a unique writing choice, and it makes him stand out quite a lot compared to Gojo and Sukuna. Gojo and Sukuna are far more similar to each other, far more similar than Dabura is to either of them. I would say Dabura is far more unique in terms of the strongest archetype of a character. But of course, I think Yuji is going to come in and Yuji will have to save the day. Now, of course, there's the power scaling reason to it. Dabura is getting his ass beat by Mahoraga, and a lot of people think this sub-light speed of his is going to be enough to take down Mahoraga, but the problem is Dabura might not be able to kill Mahoraga fast enough if he's just doing blunt attacks. We saw Mahoraga's fight against Ryomen Sukuna in Shibuya. Mahoraga adapted to the very concept of cutting, not even slashing attacks, like just the concept of being cut. He adapted to it, so it doesn't matter if it was dismantle or if it was cleave, he just was able to heal from it. Now, if Dabura just starts beating on Mahoraga with his bare fists, Mahoraga can simply just adapt to blunt damage. If he can adapt to the very concept of being cut, yes, as a fact, he can also adapt to the concept of being hit by blunt force. The best win con I can see for Dabura is if he just one-shots Mahoraga right here. Literally, the next time we see them fight, he will have to blitz him and in a single punch completely eradicate him at sublight speed. That is the only win con. If he doesn't do that, then Mahoraga is going to start adapting, and then he'll be adapted to punching attacks and kicking attacks, in which case he would have no win cons. The whole reason we always mock Kinji Hakari, the jackpot merchant, as not being able to beat Dabura is because he's a punch kick merchant, and to beat Mahoraga you will need quite a lot of versatility and unique style of attacks. This is what leads me to believe that Itadori Yuji will step in. Now, of course, there's the narrative reason, but I just want to talk about it from a power scaling point of view. It would look a lot better if Yuji came in now and he actually saved Dabura's life. First of all, killing Mahoraga, one-shotting him, that serves to save Yuka, so Yuka wouldn't have to die. I don't think Yuka's dying, definitely not. Gege is way too obvious of these things where he sets up characters that are going to die. He did the exact same thing with Yuji and Nobara and Megumi, and all 3 of them lived. Yuji being the most egregious case of all of them, him literally dying and resurrecting multiple times. But yes, if Yuji comes in and kills Mahoraga, that would nullify the ritual, thus saving Yuka's life, as Tsurugi has already said. So that's the first point, Yuji coming in to do that. But he would also be the only one who can defeat Mahoraga right now. Dabura might give us an impressive showcase at his sublight speed, but is that going to be enough to defeat Mahoraga, who's already adapted to his main technique? As a matter of fact, who's to say Mahoraga isn't going to adapt to sublight speed and start moving at the speed of light himself, or I guess just below it? Yuji might genuinely be the only character capable of defeating Mahoraga. I had a theory that maybe Rika and Tsurugi could do it if they had access to Yuta's copy technique, or at least the techniques that were ingrained on Rika that may have been stored there, but it doesn't seem like Rika has it. I hope I'm wrong on that. I really hope that my initial theory of Rika still having access to those copy techniques is true, simply just because it would be cooler for the story, way better for the fight of Tsurugi versus Maru, rather than it just being a punch-kick sort of fight, with Maru being the only one of an interesting technique. But in any case, Yuji might just be the only one who can come in and kill him. Whether this is with Clean Dismantle since he has Shrine, Yuji's own flames, or even blood manipulation, he can one-shot Mahoraga with ease. I made a video probably 2-3 weeks ago power scaling the immortal full power of Modulo Yuji. It is a 30-minute mammoth of a video, a very good video. I'm very proud of it. I would recommend checking that out after this own video if you're curious on why I think Yuji is so strong, because I don't want to just repeat that video here, and I've done it in so many videos already scaling Yuji. But the point is, we know he's going to be bare minimum Gojo and Sukuna level as a bar. That is the absolute lowest bar of how strong he can be. He should be stronger than that given all that we know of Yuji already in Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. But him saving Dabura also works in other ways than one. First of all, it would actually make Dabura himself more grateful of Yuji, and Dabura is the chieftain, the leader of all the Lumilians. He is their leader. A lot of people forget that there is a council, yes, but Dabura still has 50% of the votes, and Dabura still is the leader. He actually has final say on everything. Even if they all outvote him, he has that last word. So him being grateful to Yuji, and even looking up to Yuji maybe, first of all, is a big plus in resolving this conflict. But the second point is resolving this conflict, like I just said before. If we just defeat Mahoraga or Dabura, nothing gets solved. The Lumilians will still want to protect the cursed spirits. Even if they lose this duel or it's interrupted, these guys are so obsessed and addicted to these cursed spirits, I just don't see them leaving them alone just because the duel was lost or something. I truly see them until the very end, even if it means their own destruction, fighting for this. And due to the narrative reasons of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, it repeatedly, again and again and again, the very theme from chapter 1 of it being neighbors, the whole point is coexistence from the first chapter until now. Every single mini arc we've gotten, even with the shark, even when they were just chilling, every chapter has been the theme of coexistence and living with your neighbors. Most importantly, even the whole flashback of Dura and Dola was about neighbors and coexistence. It would be a great tragedy and a very big shame, and against the whole point of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, if the ending wasn't the aliens and the humans being able to coexist, being able to be each other's neighbors. That is how Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo is going to end. I'm not saying this is how it's supposed to end, I'm saying that's how it's going to end. We saw Jujutsu Kaisen's original ending, it was incredibly happy. Like, it couldn't have been happier. Yes, characters died, like Naname, Higuruma. Actually, Higuruma survived, sorry. Choso. We had some deaths, but remember, Megumi was supposed to die, survived. Nobara came back from a coma, survived. Yuji ended up living. We got the most happiest of happy endings. Yuji getting with his girl at the end, nobody getting family resolutions, Megumi getting with Hana, even Sukuna becoming sort of a good guy at the end and changing his mind and all that stuff. And it was just such a blissful ending. And Gege is writing a shonen story. At the end of the day, Modulo is going to go down the same route, and we are going to get an ending of the aliens and humans coexisting. Yuji being the one who not only saves Dabura, making Dabura in favor of it, but also Yuji potentially being a Kalyan. I've made so many videos on this, so I don't want to bog you all down of it, but to really summarize it in just a few seconds, Yuji is immortal, just like the Kalyans are. Yuji has a physical body, just like the Kalyans are, meaning Yuji and the death paintings, because Yuji is a death painting, is closer to the Kalyans than even a cursed spirit is. And yes, Yuji's original body was human, but after eating the death paintings, his body did become that of a death painting, as was even said by Choso, and as we've literally seen it physically function like that. The point being, he has to be the key bridge in terms of saving everything. Now, I've talked about this in other videos, but what makes me lean into the fact that Yuji has to show up more and more is the fact that as time is going on, we have less time to resolve this conflict in a big way. The easiest and simplest solution, and the only solution at this point, of having a coexistence between the aliens and the humans is Yuji simply showing up, him being just like a Kalyan, him solving the physical conflict in terms of power scaling, but mainly narratively, he is the only one capable of solving it. I want to remind you, we don't have many chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo left. We really don't. We only have a few chapters left, and already those short few chapters we have are going to go towards Dabura and Mahoraga fighting and Tsurugi and Maru fighting. So in terms of resolving this whole conflict, what's the easiest and fastest way, the most efficient way, is Yuji. The guy has been foreshadowed so many more times than I can even count. Like, it's insane how many times he has been not just seen as a cameo, but like literally said in the story, we need him to show up. Where is Itadori Yuji? We've had 4 separate chapters and literally saying, and I quote, we need to find Yuji. Has anyone located Yuji? They couldn't be more in your face. Like, this isn't subtle foreshadowing or hinting. They're directly saying multiple times, like, where the hell is this guy? We need him. We need him. We need him. Again and again and again. That's 3 times on both 3 points. That's just a way of Gege showing us Yuji has got to return. But hey, that's how I think it's all gonna go. That's why I think Yuji's gonna save the day. Tell me what you think in the comments down below. Be sure to leave a like on the video. It does help out so much. Thank you very much. And of course, subscribe for a ton of consistent and quality Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo content just like this. If you love Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, I promise you, you're not gonna regret subscribing. But hey, that's all from me. Have a great day, guys, and take care.